Yo, yo. What's going on? Watchlist time, baby. So, let's start off. Hub C stopped me out today. That swing under $1. That thing gave up today. So deleting that one off for now. Put on another swing on TMC. If you recall, this one was looking for higher lows back here. Had put it on watch list and started hitting some alerts here through the 180s. And we got a slight breakout, more like a double top. It failed off of it and then flagging, tightening. So once this breaks through 190s, could get a move higher. So I just bought the open, set a wide stop, and looking for 190 break. IVVD covered that one way too soon today. Shorted the 2 breakdown, got a flush right into 180s, so a 10% move in a couple seconds. Thought that was a good spot to cover, and then goes right down to the 140s immediately. I did not expect it to be that easy. Was thinking maybe chop around like something like this or like a retest of highs. But it was easier than expected. What else we got here? PGY. Tried that one a couple times. We had, if I go to the 2-minute, I was looking at it off the 2-minute. If we do something like this, something like this. So I was shorting this prior 2-minute bar breakdown and then covered to the lower high trend line. Didn't work. And then we got some failed fall through, started leaning into it, and then covered it all. So a couple tries, didn't really amount to much. It was just a much bigger than normal gap up in pre-market that flushed straight down into the open and off the open. So for proper risk reward, if I was going to be shorting red to green, would have been 1250, and with 1310 being the highs, the risk reward just wouldn't have made sense. So I accepted the lower odds and not shorting the trigger and trying to get in there, but it didn't work anyways. SMCI, that was a small winner. Again, didn't really amount to much. Let it blow out through highs, hard crack, lower high, looking for VWAP to fail. Broke VWAP, short into this looking left 38s, wanted it to fail. It reclaimed, so I moved on. Nice stop because it went a hell of a lot higher. So that daily chart's just getting better. Nice volume and range expansion there today. Earnings is after hours on this one tomorrow. Could go one of a couple ways. I don't think people are going to be buying into earnings. I think you could either get one, a sideways day and just a holding pattern because traders don't know what to do into a catalyst like that. Or I think the other alternative is people are selling and de-risking tomorrow before earnings. So I think it's either going to go sideways or down. I don't think it's going to continue to squeeze given the catalyst. So I'll have that one on watch tomorrow. PGY still hasn't gone red. And GRR, if you recall from over here, we had this big gap up, failed fall through day. I think I was trading. It might have been that day. It might have been that day. Can't remember. One of the days. And still hasn't gone red. Continues higher. Ideally, can get like a parabolic reactive trade up into the 25s, but see what happens. MGOL, very happy with avoiding chop on this name. We had quite the gap up, but with a gap like this and the sideways holding pattern into the open, there wasn't anybody underwater. There's nobody to sell. We are coming up into this gap, looking left. So I was looking for parabolics into those 60s, and once we were gapping over it, now prior resistance should become support. So I was either going to react to parabolics or was going to wait for 60 to fail to fall through, and it didn't fail to follow through. Off of 60, we had a break and then an instant reclaim. Sideways all day and weak close, similar to what I did on BBAI. If we go, we have this overextension, sideways day, gives it up into close. Next day was weak opens that got swiped right back. So I did not take an overnight on this, at risk of this thing gapping down like crazy and missing the trade altogether. But if pops, shoves up into 70 cents, get met with resistance. I like that for a cautious lean. This thing hasn't gone parabolic yet. Its intraday range has been fairly muted. Most of its range has been on gaps. You can see closes right near its open, closes right near its open. Not a whole lot of range intraday. So I would be hopeful that that weak close traps shorts tomorrow. Weak opens, dips towards 55, I'd hope get absorbed, and down the road can get that parabolic to a buck. But I am open to it, to shorten it tomorrow if I have to, but just thoughts there. What else do we got? Lottery, quiet fader that bought back into close. Was hoping this bounce was gonna continue to fail. Could have been a backside bounce, but I'd need this one a lot lower. Then we've got PGI, SMCI is probably my main watch. MGOL is probably a main watch. TMC looking to scale through the 190s. CYN, first big volume day, trading 2 billion shares. Absolutely insane. So when they're trading this much volume, they favor a gapper. So I'd need like 100% gap on something like this to look to short it. Otherwise, I would hope it would do something like MGOL. And with this volume, you could trade any size you want. Just careful trying to flip shares back and forth, because this cheap of a name, you'll burn commissions real quick. But this dip right here before close, where you get this steady grind, blowout possible, you get this double bottom, and then hard crack. This is where shorts are coming in, into this crack or into bounces. And then you can see it just breaks through, and then retests and holds that 16. So this is 100% a key level. Those low 16s, so gapping up so far after hours. Nothing I would long right now. Yeah, Selena, sympathy to MGOL. Yes, you betcha. So nothing I would look to short right now. Momentum still on the front side here, but a higher the better. I wouldn't long it now. It's extended. But see where we can get that one to start running. SOPA, I think shorts could be in a bind on this one as well. Looking left, no big volume days until way overhead. So this is basically the daily chart that I'm playing here. History of some multi-day runs. And after this big volume day, we got this pullback and nice reclaim. If you want to see here. Through these 250s-ish would be the over-under level. You can see the volume profile level here in the 230, 240 range. So what we got was a blowout through prior highs, and then it just got slammed, which is a spot that shorts get involved in stuff like this, and a steady grind and float back up after hours. So the daily chart's not going to look pretty, the daily candle tomorrow, because the close is going to be in the 260s off of a 310 high. So you have a huge wick. So it will be gapping up, but I think off of this action, and given the liquidity hasn't come back in, could be liquidity trap, and then that hammer, that short spot, I think could get shorts in a bind. So see how those 290s react. I'm thinking possible liquidity trap and then possible short trap with that, given that intraday action. So we'll be watching all weakness for a trend join. Soon, this one hit my scanners this evening. This is not A+, given the volume. Only traded 1.5 million today. But 3 to 6, we got that 100% move, volume and range expansion. So if I can get opening range breakdowns and red moves, I'd definitely be interested, but it looks like it's starting to go parabolic. Higher this wants to go, the better, but I do think it ends in one candle. Like, I think Saddle is doing it. Like this, where it starts going parabolic and then just ends. So it's starting to come back again. I can't remember what that other one was. There was one recently like this, where it just goes up, 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 and then boom, whole move. So I could see that happening here, where it just goes up, 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 and then right back to 4. So see what's up with that one. Let me catch up with chat here. Intraday price action. I've heard Nate talk about fades on low volume pre-market and then swipe up on open. I've seen them grind up on low volume, then quickly dump. What does it mean for a stock? It's having an asymmetric buying selling candle size volume. Heard you say something the other day about it affecting support and resistance on IVVD. Is this indicative of a buyer seller in the tape? Similar to wicking. I've heard that bottom can be signaled on a big fade by seeing large. Yeah, like a big fade on something like IVVD today. A bottom would be indicative of a big volume candle. So you can see it's fading, gets hammered, biggest volume of the day, and that gets bought up. So it's like maximum fear. So everybody's just stopping out into one candle. And when you reach peak fear, that's typically when there's a good trade opportunity. In terms of like low fade pre-market, it like, first of all, not everybody can trade pre-market. And most of the volume comes in off the open. So like the best example was like what AMC was doing back in 21. Like over here, where you get these parabolic dailies that would get walked down on low volume in pre-market, and then by the time the real volume comes in, you'd be 10x by open, and it would just start churning and flipping shares. So that whole pre-market fade on low volume was easy for those big money players to absorb. And once the big volume came in, that's when the real trend comes. So when I'm using support and resistance levels, like something like SOPA, for example, these are the big volume days. I'm not using these days as breakout levels because charts are just visual representations of where traders are involved. So the breakout level is this high volume day. It's not this day. It's not one of these days. It's not one of these days. It's where the volume is traded. Q was shorting M call after the HOD clear out, then started pyramiding into the bounce after the new low day, got stopped out. Was looking for near 50s. That's why I didn't take covers at 56. You tweeted it at me. Let me check. There we go. So that the cover off the open, let me see here. I think I can pull it up. I should be able to put it on the stream, I think. Right here. So, if we zoom in here, so this would be that key. oops, this would be that key level right through here. These prior highs. So I don't hate a starter in here, but I think these scales are a bit premature because we haven't had, like, you're still in this range, over under, this pre-market range that it's set here, which would be, let me look at my chart. That range is from 70 to 63. 63 low, 70 high. So I don't hate this entry. It could have easily failed. It could have been a gap and crap. I see your proactive covers are fine. This I don't hate. I think these scales are a bit early because we haven't proven to break down and fail to fall through under the lower end of the range, and we haven't blown out through the higher end of the range yet. So this cover is typically a good reactive spot. So if you don't have these scales, you're now not having to stop out through here. You're now shorting here and then reacting up here. So now you're not emotionally involved into that. And then this, I'd say, would be your scale spot, because now you have hard crack lower highs, and this cover, I think, is beautiful. I probably personally, like this, I wouldn't be covering here. I'd probably be covering right around here. But yeah, I just think this scale right here would be a mistake. And then this cover, I think, is a reactive op. I think this is the blowout that you're looking for in regards to your comments there. I believe I had text Nate a chart. I can find it. Because I had showed it on here. I do this one, and if I do this one, oh Jen, my covers sucked, but it'll show the let me see here, image, there we go. But nice trade all in all. I think you managed it pretty well. So if I do this one, is HWCB. You can see right here, so you have this spot on the daily range into this $1 level, and then where I've drawn this lower end in this 88-cent level. So you want to see 88s fail to follow through. So I short into the upper end of the range. Market opens. So I add, because now we've got real volume, it hasn't just ripped through. So now I'm partial size. We've got an 88 fail, but I'm not full size because it hasn't retested and proven. And then now, because I wait for a test, I'm able to react into the upper end of the channel, where if I'm scaling like right here, for example, which was kind of how you did on MGOL, into this little crack lower high. If you're scaling into there, now you're emotional up here and you're not able to react to it. And the pre-market price action on MGOL is very similar. Let me go close this. There we go. So very similar to MGOL, where you've got this upper end 60 and then this lower end here in like sub 50. Hence my covers here, because we get that flush right below it. I ended up missing this. I went over this trade a few days ago on the stream, but I'm starting in here. I'm nowhere near full size until it starts to fail to follow through. We get hard crack lower highs. Now I'm scaling versus VWAP. But I waited for that clear out before adding into that position. That's how Nate's taught it. So that's not That's not me, like I told you so. That's how Nate trades, and that's how he teaches. Him being a mentor of mine, or some takeaways I take from him like that. Let's see here. CYN, yes. For your bounce play, is lipo something you would look for? No, there's no volume on this thing anymore. It hasn't gone on a front side run. It's just a failed one-day spiker, so that's a no. And then I use prior day's volume as an indicator. I need like $8 to $10 million volume. We only traded 500,000 shares on a $3 name. Is only 1.5 million. So dollar volume's not there, and it hasn't gone on a front side move. So I would not bounce that one. You called MGOL going up near $1 on your last stream. Right on. It did just that. You know, broken clock's right twice a day, so hopefully it keeps going. I'm, like I had mentioned earlier, I'm hoping that this week close just traps shorts, and week opens get absorbed, and we actually get like an A+ trade. If this can get to and through $1 and start to fill this gap, this is like an A grade trade, but we need some more intraday range. We need some blowout, like FFIE back right here. This is kind of where I'm hoping MGOL is, where we get some muted intraday range, and then this day, you know, this is shorts capitulating and cover and tripping over themselves. And then we even get that gap up parabolic. So I'm open to MGOL just being a typical first red day, but I'm hoping it rips through $1. Fingers crossed. But also by not fighting it today saves me some bullets for if and when that trade comes. So if I need to try it tomorrow, if I take a loss on it, it's no sweat. Now if I'm fighting it today, fighting it tomorrow, then it starts to add up and you pre-exhaust. So that's what I'll try not to do. Yeah, FFIE was nice though. I traded it really well because let's see here. Maybe I'll go to a 2-minute. 05. What was it? 010 maybe. 0514. 0514. It was somewhere around there. May. I don't have the daily chart up right now, so let's see. Yeah, there we go. So this is kind of what you need out of MGOL, because it's just chopped around. But FFIE, this, I had shorted this off of this move, where you got this higher low, higher low, higher low. You get this hard crack VWAP fail. I was shorting it all through here. I covered here, reshorted. I probably have those executions somewhere. Let me see. FFIE, first red day. Yep, I got it right here. Oh, and crack and sympathy. That one was sexy too. FFIE. Right there. You should be able to see it. So I had taken a couple losses on it in the morning because we have this big gap up. Like it's a blow-off day. If you can imagine what the daily candle looked like with it gapping up here over 250. So I had taken a couple losses on it, but kept them tight. Once we got that fail into the afternoon, that was a trend trigger. All the other days, it held up into the close. So once we started to fail, fairly clean action. Thank you. Appreciate it. But yeah, that was basically, I think the reason why I was able to catch it on that backside was because I didn't exhaust on these days. Like if you saw those cuts that day, and I believe I was shorting it on this day, because I think this was like the dollar range where we got our first big gap up, and I was kind of forcing it here even though it never failed VWAP. But then we got that next blow off, and just kept going and going. It was crazy. And it just, each day it goes, the trade's just better. I said that to Kyle today. It's like I have such a hard time with these names because the higher this goes, like if this gap's up tomorrow, I'm going to short it. And if I take a loss because it keeps going higher, it's just a better trade for later that day or the next day. So I need to keep trying it. It's so tough. Yeah, Kyle lost like 400 or 500K on FFIE. Did trading ever just click for you? Any specific point or trade? I did a review of my trade's biggest difference, so I just don't trade a lot. Really slow this year. I don't think it really just clicked. No. I started trading fairly well in March of 2020, where I was losing up until then. And then we had APT, I believe. Like right in here, where it was like in the beginning of 2020. I know it was end of 2019, I believe. Because it was, I remember December 2019, there was a bunch of multi-day runners with morning panics. Could have been Jewel. Could have been J. It was a J name. I can't remember what it was. It was a J name back in December of 2019. But that was like my first... Because I was trading like super small. When I had started in the beginning of 2019, I was basically just trading 1,000 shares of anything. And I'd lose $300, $500, a few $100 every time. And it started getting a bit expensive when I was just waking up and losing every day. So I sized right back down, and I was risking like $10, $20 in 2019 into 2020. And I was, risking like $20. And then this J name, I can't remember it. But it was December 2019, and it was a multi-day runner, something like this. And it had a big panic, and it was so clean. Just red candle after red candle on a listed stock. It wasn't an OTC. It was a listed stock. And it just kept going down and down and down. I bought that first 1 minute green candle, the turn, and I think I made like 200 and something bucks on it off of like $20 risk. And that was like my first, like, I think I can do it. And then, so December was like, I think my first green month in 2019. And then I was like chopping around, probably red months, January, February 2020. And then we had stuff like APT, Lake, NVAX, mRNA, what was that? I can't remember it. I can't remember. It was another CODX. a bunch of Corona names, and they were super clean. Multi-day runners, green, green, green gap, monster blow-off gap, pullback, 2 red days, backside bounce. So we get the morning panics, we get the overextended first red days, we get the backside bounce, and then March was like my first good month where like I made money. And it wasn't like straight up from there, but it was I think it's more of like the click moment is more of like a confidence thing where you start to get confidence in yourself that you can trust what you're seeing and you know what you're doing. I think that's more the click moment, but I don't think anything just clicks. I think it's you start doing small things that you don't realize, but you do them consistently over a long enough period of time that they all kind of fuse together and turn into something great. TOS in 2020. Didn't do much shorting. FIU was one of my biggest losses on the run up. I fought it every day, got blown out on the last day. That's pretty typical. That's where tops are made, right? Traders getting blown out. That's why there's a top. Now that I got short more, it's crazy to see how insane these ops were back in 2020. Yeah, I wish I knew what I did now. I think I'd trade that stuff a lot better. Like SES, I think was... I remember trading this one because I had it on my Instagram, but it doesn't look like the chart goes back. Because it was like a monster move. But for some reason the chart doesn't go back. I think it was back here somewhere, but it's weird. Genus. I remember buying that one at $1. Must be split adjusted. I bought this breakout here. I think this one was $1, wasn't it? Yeah, this must be split adjusted. Because I played the dollar breakout on this. Right through here. It was such a clean afternoon setup. 2020 513. What's the breakout level? 1030. What? Why didn't that open? My chart's broken now. I guess it's not. Oh my god. What is happening with this stock? I don't know. I tried to go back to the date, but it wasn't very happy. But even that multi-day move, look at that. Gap up, gap up, gap up. Parabolic green. Blow off top. Massive panic. Like, just so gorgeous. I remember playing, like, even the breakouts right through here. This breakout on Lake was on in February 26th. And you can see APT had already broken out on the 25th. So Lake was like a laggard. Super easy trade. CODX, I remember playing that one. Same thing. Sympathy, but it was like a whole day later. You had an entire day. There was such an inefficiency at the beginning of COVID because no one was traders. So APT went, and you could buy any COVID stock, anything that had a mask, anything that had a treatment, or insane. Okay, back to the action from today. So watches for tomorrow will be MGOL, SMCI, TMC, and soon. Watches for tomorrow. I will wrap up the watch list there. Thank you guys for the convo. And hopefully I'll see you back here again tomorrow. Trade them well tomorrow. Stay safe out there. Don't fight Steph. And yeah, I will... let me just read this quick. Started trading 20. Heard stories about these tickers. Yeah, they're cool. Alrighty, thank you guys. I will see you back tomorrow. Peace.